The perfective form of some Kawal and Kaidal verbs. Prepared and presented by Nakibullah Latifi. In this presentation, I want to talk about another significant aspect of some of the non-adjectival verbs in the perfective tenses and give you simple tips to master verb conjugation. As you might have noticed, that a number of non-adjectival verbs that end with Kawal, the Kawal part of the verb changes to either wakrel or krel depending on the context. For example, Parun ghlo zma motor ghlakar versus Parun ghlo zma the motor ghla wakra. So what is the trick? Why in the first example ghla Kawal became ghlakar, while in the second example ghla Kawal became ghla wakra? What I just discussed in the earlier slide is also applicable to the Kaidal verbs of non-adjectival roots. The Kaidal part of the verb changes to waswal or swal depending on the context. For example, Parun zma motor ghlasu versus Parun zma the motor ghla waswa. In this slide, before I go deep into the subject matter, I want you to complete the sentence by choosing the correct answer from either A or B. Please pause this video and write your answer on a piece of paper. And then when you are done, go to the next slide and compare your work with the key. Based on the verb conjugation rules you have learned so far, you probably would have chosen A, waksin wukri, because waksin is a noun, and when the verb root is a noun, the Kawal changes to wakral. Well, generally that's true, but in this particular case, B is the correct answer. Parun daktar mashuman waksin kral. Now the question is, how did I come up with this answer? Well, when the root of a verb functions as the object of a sentence, the Kawal changes to wakral. But if another noun functions as the direct object rather than the verb root, then the Kawal changes to wakral. In this case, mashuman is the object, so the Kawal changes to kral. In order to give you a broader picture of how the rules work, I'm going to compare two sentences from the previous slide and add a third one for the sake of clarification. The first sentence, Parun daktar mashuman waksin kral. In this sentence, mashuman is the direct object, so the Kawal is changed to kral. While in the second sentence, daktar waksinuna wakral, waksinuna is the direct object, so Kawal becomes wakral. In the third sentence, daktar the mashumanu waksinuna wakral, the mashumanu waksinuna is the direct object. That's why the Kawal is changed to wakral. So in order to form accurate verb conjugation, first we must identify the object of a sentence. If the object is part of a verb, as in sentence number 2 and sentence number 3, then the Kawal is changed to wakral. But if it's not part of the verb and another noun functions as the direct object as sentence number 1, then it changes to kral. The Kaidal verbs are intransitive. Therefore, they do not require direct objects. They are only used in passive sentences. In addition, when the Kaidal verbs are used in sentences, either the root of Kaidal verbs or another noun functions as the subject of the sentence. In order to use accurate Kaidal form of the verbs, let's analyze these sentences. The first sentence, Parun mashuman waksin swal, mashuman is the subject of the sentence, so the Kaidal is changed to swal. While in the second sentence, Pakiliki waksinuna waswal, waksinuna is the subject of the sentence, so the Kaidal becomes waswal or washwal. And the third sentence, په کلي کې د ماشومانو واکسینونه وسول. د ماشومانو واکسینونه is the subject. Therefore, the kaidal is changed to waswal or washwal. So in order to form accurate verb conjugation, we must first identify the subject of a sentence. If the subject is part of the verb as sentence number 2 and sentence number 3, then kaidal changes to waswal. But if it's not part of the verb and another noun functions as the subject of a sentence as sentence number 1, then it changes to swal. Put it into practice. Please pause the video. Write the correct form of the verbs for the given sentences. When you are done, play the video and compare your work with the key in the next slide. Put it into practice. Please pause the video. Write the correct form of the verbs for the given sentences. When you are done, play the video and compare your work with the key in the next slide.